this is Joymay's channel. I'm May. U.S. visa ban on 75 countries across all categories taking effect soon. What's the background? First, in November 2025, the U.S. Department of State sent a cable to embassies and consulates worldwide instructing consular officers to implement comprehensive new review rules based on the public charge clause of immigration law. The guidelines grant consular officers discretionary power to deny visas to applicants likely to rely on public benefits. They are to weigh various factors including health status, age, English proficiency, financial situation, and potential needs such as long-term health care. Applicants who are elderly, overweight, or have previously used government cash assistance may potentially be denied. Background 2. Media reporters revealed that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the state of Minnesota applied for $250 million in federal funds, claiming it was for providing hundreds of meals as part of a child nutrition program. However, the money was alleged used for personal purposes, with accusations for forged invoices and falsified attendance records. Minnesota is a major settlement area for people of Somali origin, and the case involved Somali individuals, leading to over 60 convictions. Some media reports suggest this new U.S. visa restriction is related to the Minnesota benefits fraud scandal, which involved Somali citizens or Somali Americans. Background 3. The U.S. Congress established a temporary protected status (TPS) in 1990 to provide refuge for individuals from countries affected by war or environmental disasters. Immigrants with TPS can typically live and work legally in the United States. On January 13, 2026, both Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and the White House press secretary stated that conditions in Somalia have improved and it is no longer in U.S. interests to allow Somalis to remain on the TPS. Somali immigrants currently holding this status are required to leave the United States by March 17. On January 14, 2026, the U.S. federal government directed the Department of State to rigorously combat visa fraud globally on the reinstated public charge rule. Concurrently, it announced the suspension of review and processing for all U.S. visa applications from nationals of 75 countries. This suspension is set to take effect on January 21st, 2026, and will continue indefinitely. State Department spokesman Tommy stated that authority will be used to prevent the entry of immigrants likely to use U.S. public benefits. Exceptions are minimal, and applicants must pass a public charge review for visa approval. Which 75 countries are affected by the U.S. visa ban? It's not about Asia like Thailand, Mongolia, Pakistan, Nepal, and include the Middle East and Northern Africa, some countries, Saharan Africa countries, and Europe, some countries like Russia, Armenia, Brazil, Colombia, Haiti, Cuba, Grenada, Dominican Republic, Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia. The U.S. government's list of 70 countries is likely backed by data on public benefits usage. It is uncertain is like Grenadian nationals applying for U.S. E2 visas will be fully restricted going forward. Grenadian passport holders should not this situation. If an option is still available, choosing a Turkish passport for a subsequent E2 application might be better. We are applicants from these 75 countries who have already applied for U.S. immigration be affected. Highly likely that the review of immigrant visa for applicants from these 75 countries will slow down after the ban take effect, but it probably won't lead to direct termination or revocation of applications. The ban has just been announced. It remains to be seen if there will be subsequent amendments. The U.S. has consulates in most of these 70 countries. Will they be closed? Can applicants still apply for non-immigrant visas? Based on available information, major or key countries with U.S. consulates include Russia, Brazil, Thailand, Egypt, Nigeria, Colombia, etc. These posts handle visas and are significant diplomatic presences. A few countries on the list currently have no operational U.S. consulates, often due to war or broken diplomatic relations. Afghanistan, like Syria, Iran, Libya. This ban applies to all visa categories. However, the public charge rule primarily concerns immigrant visa applications, suggests a smaller impact on non-immigrant visas. Whether non-immigrant visa applications will be completely restricted in the future depends on potential new policies. Visa processing is a core function of overseas consulates. Will Chinese applicants be affected by the visa ban? Barring any major incidents, Chinese applicants are not currently expected to be affected by this visa ban in the future. However, the public charge review applies to all immigrant visa applicants. In the end, the three core certainties offered by the U.S. green card. First, safe harbor. As the U.S. intensifies the deportation of refugees and undocumented immigrants, large-scale operation began in 2025. Holding a green card provides the absolute protection of legal status. The U.S. sure shield for life in the U.S. community safety is expected to improve structurally due to stringent law enforcement. Second, economic access. Under the umbrella of American First policies, high tariffs and high wage standards, a green card grants legal entry into the protected U.S. labor market, allowing holder to share in the economic dividends brought by the reshoring of industries and technology. Third, social credit endorsement. Under the 2026 regulations, individuals who pass the interview and receive a green card are officially defined as an elite group deemed financially sound, healthy, and non-threatening. It is not merely a residence permit, but also a certificate of passing one of the world's most rigorous background checks. Love and Future, Joy May. Thank you for watching.